This conference will now be recorded.
All right, welcome everyone back to the City Council meeting. I would like a motion to reopen the meeting. And this is for the Truth in Taxation public hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Do we need a motion to open the Truth in Taxation portion?
Well, I'll do the budget presentation and then you'll open the public hearing. So
All
yes,
right.
at that point we will.
Okay, sounds good.
So you guys should be able to see my screen if you're on video. Kind of go through it with you guys if that's okay. If you guys have any questions, just shout out what they are and I will answer them. But we'll just get started. Maybe. Okay, so starting with revenues for 2020, property taxes were $567,000, and due to property value increases, in 2021 we're estimating $593,000. Sales tax we kept the same for budgetary purposes. Local government aid as of right now is set to increase about $35,000, although we'll talk about it a little bit later. I'm expecting that to be cut, but we haven't heard anything official from the state yet. The transfers from power and light will remain $150,000, and I'm estimating the campground revenues to be about the same. For expenditures, we'll go over these in a little bit better detail later on, but the elections budgets were removed for 2021. The operating transfer will continue from the general fund to the DMV. I included wage increases in the budget. For our PEEP health insurance, the estimated increase was right around 10%, and that was all due to COVID related increases. And then I did make budget updates for personnel, meaning the part-time administrative assistant and the police chief. So this gives a breakdown of, in total, the changes that were made. So for general government, there was no change. Council, there was no change. City administration was a decrease of $13,000. Elections were taken out, so there's a decrease there. The community center stayed the same. Our police department, with a lot of the changes that were made, resulted in a $12,000 decrease. The building inspector stayed the same. Public Works increased $23,000, and that is due to the double staffing for a couple of months that we knew Wayne would be retiring. So we just budgeted for 2 months of wages and insurance. The depot stayed the same. Our Parks and Rec department will stay the same. Gardens stayed the same. The library had some staffing changes over the year 2020. So in 2020, we estimate a little bit of a decrease. A small increase in the cemetery and the cable TV department, as well as the arena. So all in all, with the general fund, we're estimating a $6,000 decrease in expenditures. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So for capital, this is kind of where it takes a little bit of a turn. For the Public Works Department, we estimated about $20,000 for a dump truck plow for snow plowing and those types of things. I also put in here a loader, and this will be dependent on if there are any cuts with LGA, and we also have that large trail project going on in 2021. So if that goes over budget, this item will be the first to go. So I told Phil not to get too excited because my estimate is that this probably will not happen in 2021. I don't feel confident that the state will give us our full amount for LGA. So this is going to be the first thing kind of on the chopping block. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Katie, I had heard that it's like actually they were way off in what they're projecting. There's like a $900 million surplus. So I wouldn't allow the state to be pushing a lot of buttons right away. I think everyone needs to stand firm and demand proof.
So I heard that they had a short-term surplus, but over a 2-year projection, I think they were still projecting a loss. So for the short term, for the rest of 2020, we are getting our full LGA amount, but I just don't know yet for 2021, which is why I'm being hesitant to have Phil get excited about a loader. My idea is similar to that we talked about earlier. If we have money left over, my suggestion at the end of 2021 is going to be to put all of that money that we have left over into that equipment fund so that we maybe in 2022 we'll have enough money collectively for a loader or for a squad or for something. So the money will not go unused. I just am cautious in having Phil get too excited. The other capital items for the general fund are the roof repairs, which I estimated at $10,000, although I have not contacted to get quotes quite yet. I just got the report from the engineers not that long ago, so we'll get those done in 2021, as well as the overhead door at the arena. And then the third rooftop unit for the community center, which is right around, we estimated right around 20.
Katie, I
Yeah.
interject. I do have a pretty big concern with, I think that somewhere along the line in meeting with department heads, we need to make sure that we're doing our due diligence or that they're bringing you factual information. The council could have approved, I don't remember how many, what was it, $100,000 roof? I mean, that to me still, I do not want something like that to ever slip by, because we could have really screwed city council members or city residents for years to come. That should have never happened. And I just want to make sure that we're going to be doing something different so that doesn't come to your desk or doesn't get past your desk.
I mean, I know it's something that I'm certainly going to question more in the future. It's certainly a learning experience for me. So I agree.
It's not a shot at you at all. It's just, I do not want this to get by because, you know, we're human beings too. And we take the information that we get just like you did and say, well, it could be factual. I'm just asking for checks and balances, just like any other business would do. That's all.
Yep, I agree.
I think the council did a great job on that, questioning all that and getting Katie to do the next step, which was to talk to the engineer group. So to me, the process worked. I know what you're saying, Doug, but I think when it came to us and all you counselors asking questions, you did exactly the right thing and it worked how it should. So
Perhaps,
to me,
perhaps, Ted, maybe we should have a dollar amount that if it goes over X amount that we do confer with, if it's something that's structural, that we would confer with our engineers or something like that, just so there's a safety net. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
So those are the total, all of the capital improvements for the general fund. That's what we have budgeted. The next screen just shows a compilation of what we had budgeted in 2020 compared to 2021, and you'll see that increase of about $90,000, which, like I said, most of it is, as it sits right now, going for a loader, although if something happens with LGA or that trail goes over budget, that item is going to be the first one that gets crossed off, unfortunately. But the money's got to come from somewhere. The next screen shows 2020 compared to 2021. In 2021, we are estimating revenues of $2,287,886, operating expenditures of $2,050,745, and CI capital improvements of $218,000, resulting in a net income of about $20,000. These numbers do not include anything with sales tax, gas franchise fee, or gambling. Those come in and go to a completely separate area. So we do still budget for them though. We do not have any remaining outstanding items. Everything that we've talked about, I think in September, we've addressed and made changes to. So the next screen here shows us from 2019 how we compare to area communities. So it looks like we're a little bit less expensive than Barnum, but a little bit more expensive than, I'm sorry, opposite. No, I lied. I put these numbers in here, I should know. A little bit less expensive than Barnum, but a little bit more expensive than Carlton, Proctor, Willow, and Renshall, which are on the next screen here. So some historical levy information, just so we all are on the same page. This will be the second year in a row that I am proposing a 0% tax rate increase, and just some numbers for everybody. In 2020, we had an estimated tax capacity of $987,000. That increased to $1,031,000 in 2021. So that's a good thing that everyone's property taxes are increasing. I mean, not a good thing, but property values are increasing. That's a good thing. I know I've gotten a few phone calls about it in the last week or so. So if anyone is having an issue with the valuation of your property, the person to call is the Carleton County Assessor's Office. I don't know specifically who takes care of Moose Lake in the assessor's office. However, anybody should be able to help you. There is a meeting in April. We haven't set a date yet, but in April, we have the local Board of Appeals and Equalization meeting, and that is the meeting that residents should attend to discuss the valuation of your property. I've answered quite a few phone calls on that this year, so I just wanted to make that comment. So moving on to debt service. We are assigning $41,000 of property tax dollars to the 2011A bond, which is for the Civic Center and the Fire Hall. The Fire Hall and the township also pay portions of that too, so it kind of comes in and goes out. 2014A is Park Place Drive, so that is $45,000 of property taxes, special assessments, and then again, money in, money out. 2017A bond, this was for 3rd Street and Kenwood. We are going to assign $35,000 of property tax dollars, and that 23, I can't remember where that comes from right off the top of my head, but again, money in, money out. The 2020A bond comes from the MediaCom franchise fee, so that's how that is funded. Our bond payment is $17,000 next year, a little under 17 next year, and then there's a little bit of a fiscal agent fee. So again, we're just to be clear on that one, we can prepay that one. So we're going to look at what our expenses are each year and pay what we can with the revenues that we got. And we have not received our 4th quarter. We won't receive it probably until February. So it'll be a 2021 payment. So that's all of the debt that we have that is not water and sewer debt. So water fund, we are suggesting a 20% rate increase, which is why you see such a large increase in revenue from 2020 to 2021. With a 20% rate increase, we're expecting an additional $50,000 in revenue, which will cover the bond payment for the well house project. In 2020 to 2021, you also see a big jump in expenses because of the interest payment on that bond. The net effect of all of that is a net loss of right around $9,000. And I did include additional engineering fees for the finishing of the well house project. There's some smaller projects that we have, we'll probably talk about in January for the well house. So I'm expecting some larger bills there. So I did 3 different scenarios, I guess, for rate increases for the water fund, 10, 15, and 20%, and the net effects of those are listed. If you guys remember, we had a meeting with Northland Financial, and they suggested that we do a 20% rate increase in 2020 and a 15% rate increase in 2020 for 2022. And I know that those are high increases, but we now have a $2 million bond that we have to pay on. So that's what they will go towards. With a 20% rate increase, a small user will see about a $4 to $5 increase in their water bill. That's not exact, but right around a 4 to 5. I just looked at the charts again that Northland provided to us. So that's kind of a dollar figure, excuse me, a dollar figure that residents can expect to see for a small user. For the sewer fund, we are suggesting a 2% rate increase, which would increase revenues about $2,300. You're going to see higher expenditures in 2021 from 2022, or I'm sorry, a little bit higher due to wage increases and things like that, but they are overall a little bit higher because of the lining project that we decided to keep in the budget. So we're doing a second phase of that lining project. Our debt payments will be about $341,000, resulting in a net loss of $117,000. But we have, and I forgot to look, but we have more than enough in reserves for sustaining that loss. Some sewer rate increase options. I did 1%, 2%, and 3% with the associated net effects of that, and then an average increase that users can see is between 25 cents and 75 cents, depending on what we decide tonight. So capital improvements for the water and sewer fund. Like I said, the sewer fund is going to see a sewer lining project again, and the water fund, we budgeted for some valve replacements and breaks. And then I also remember that we talked about doing the water service relocates in a couple of places. So depending on what happens with water breaks, we potentially could use that money for lowering some services. But that will all be after, probably after May, June, that we can make those decisions. And then we also are going to be finishing up the well house project with the water tower painting and some of the smaller cleanup projects that we decided to go ahead and get done. So the liquor fund, I didn't really know what to expect for 2021 in the liquor fund, given how weird 2020 has been, but I kept the revenues the same. And the expenditures changed a little bit due to some capital items, which we are going to order a new ice maker. And then we also would like to do some exterior siding repairs. So the siding that was chosen is starting to show some wear and tear in certain areas. And when I had the company come out to look at the arena roof. They also came to the liquor store and gave me some really good suggestions there. So we're going to try and do some of that in-house if we can, to save a little bit of money. But nonetheless, I did budget for both of those. So with that, we're expecting a net income of right around $70,000. And then the DMV, the big change with the DMV was we took out the capital projects because they completed their capital project right around March of this year. And with that, their net income or net loss, I'm sorry, will be right around $18,000. I'm interested to see what 2020 comes in at, because we had a much larger volume of people coming through than I've ever seen. So I'm optimistic that that will be as close to zero as possible. But with the DMV, there's just nothing that we can do. We can't increase our fees. But that's the DMV. Do you guys have any questions on any of the enterprise funds? Okay, so if I think at the August meeting, we passed a 2% levy increase, which would be the $735,000 amount. So if we passed a 2%, if we keep that, that's what we will levy. I did the budget with a $714,000 total levy amount, which would be a 0% increase, which is the second year in a row that we have been able to do that. So that is something that I am very proud of. Our staff has worked very, very hard, as well as you guys, at keeping that at zero and providing all of the same services, if not more. So that's historical. And then I think the next thing I need is motion. So does anybody have any questions on the budget?
This is Walt. I'm fine with the budget, other than the police department budget. It's still extremely high. I'm very grateful for Darren and the city for finding some cuts. It looks like those cuts have been basically eaten up by the $40,000 health care. We still have the police budget at $645,000, and we take in general property tax $593,000. That's a difference of $52,000. The police budget is $52,000 over the property tax that we bring in. It's also way over three times the size of the public works department. If you look at the figures from the budget, if you look at them all together, the police department figures jump out like crazy. They're extremely high for a small town, 1,300 people to be paying. We live in this town and pay our property taxes in part to have our infrastructure updated in a timely manner. And the next road project's not going to be until 2022. And that to me seems contingent to be on whether or not we get a grant from the state to do it all. I wonder how we would pay for any of this stuff if we weren't receiving grants from the state. But at some
Walt,
point,
can I jump
yes.
in here really quick? So that the next road project is not contingent on us getting a grant. It would certainly help, but it is not contingent. We have enough money to do a road project, but we would have needed to already have it planned at this point. So at this point next year, we will know whether we receive that grant or whether we're going to go in a different direction. But nonetheless, we will be doing a road project in 2022. It just depends on whether we have grant dollars to help us out or not.
Okay, Thank you for that information.
Yep.
But I still find the police budget to be extremely high compared to all the other budgets in the city. I would just like to see us continue to work on trying to cut this police budget down. When we had talked earlier in this year, we had decided to hire a working police chief, and I felt that there was some agreement between some of us, or at least it had been brought up, that we would be able to get rid of a patrol officer to try to have some extra savings. But obviously that has not happened. And now we're right back into the same situation that we were over the last years, where we have a police department that is sucking up a extreme amount of the overall budget. And I'm just very worried about getting these infrastructure projects done in a timely manner. I mean, we can only have Phil go around for so long filling potholes. He's starting to fill potholes on top of potholes. He wastes a lot of time doing that. And from talking to the people, they're getting upset about not seeing us getting this infrastructure fixed, like I said, in a timely manner. The first 10 projects are going to take 30 years. And what do we have? 80 of them? We're going to have to start trying to find some more money to be able to like I say, do this more in a timely manner.
You know, Walt, one of the reasons I wanted all those projects brought in January is because we need to look at all of them. And I know I've talked about this before, and that is, it's great to do a full infrastructure project with the top items, you know, on the list. But we got some roads that are 15 years out and the blacktop is bad now. And to me, we should be doing a grind and re-topping those, because in 15 years, that grind and re-topping will be shot again. But it will be a heck of a lot better for 10, 12 years. And that's been the history of some of these roads. They do last about that long. To me, we got to look at that again, because you can do a block or even more for $20,000, $30,000, where you're not spending 150 to 250 or 500,000 that you're going to need for a full project. And I want to discuss that again in January. To me, some of these roads, we've waited long enough to do a blacktop. And if it is a majority vote not to do that, fine. But I want the general public to hear that discussion in January.
I think that's a good idea, Ted.
Well, and can I just say something about the police department? You know, Darren has been there, what, 6 months now, and we see there is, you know, some costs going down. I think we need to give him a chance to show what we can decrease. Unfortunately, it is a huge budget. There's a lot of probably more personnel in that department that drives that up with the para, the health insurance, all that. I do believe that people also expect that they're paying the property taxes, that we do have law enforcement here to keep the crime down. But I do agree that we need to move forward and on some of these projects and maybe not do a complete infrastructure, just do some grinding and get some of these done, because you're correct, Walt. I mean, we need to get moving on these. They are filling potholes over potholes over potholes.
Yeah, I appreciate what you have to say, Chris. And I have been quite pleased with Darren's performance so far. And that's why I'm bringing this up, is just so people are aware that we still need to try to find some future savings to try to bring this police budget down some. And I realize that he has just gotten on, and I am hopeful that he will be able to possibly find some more cuts in the future. I just wanted to touch on this again. I mean, you guys have heard me bring this up several times, so I think you're all aware of my opinion on it.
You know, there's another item that we haven't talked about, and we can't go into detail in this meeting, and that is, you know, with the PTS problems that officers have, and rightly so, you know, with some of them, and so we don't know where that decision will be. But I'm imagining when that is all cleared up, there will be some savings there, depending on what we do with the position that'll be open.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a quick comment, if you don't mind, as well. I appreciate the comments, Walt. One of the things that I've talked to Katie is, you know, I'm not going to come forward and ask for any pieces of equipment that I don't think we absolutely need, and you won't see that from me, you know, coming through. And the big decision comes down to, you know, I'll still be able to pick away at things, and we're already changing some things on some more cost-saving things. Some of those will be minimal, and as a group, they will add up. The other problem is whether or not you stay with 24-hour coverage, and that's where, you know, wages, that's where the bulk of the money is, depending on, you know, where we go and what we do with that. But I am seeking some other outside funding sources, like I said, about some of the other different entities that we have in the city, and coming up with some different plans as well. So I appreciate your comments and the support, and I have the same interest as well as I'm sure the mayor and everybody else, and I'm sure we'll continue to get it down there, but there will be some things out of our control, and depending on which way you want to see the department go.
All right. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the council before we move on to the next phase? Hearing none. Katie, at this point, do we need to close this and go into the public hearing, or do you have anything else?
Nope, we just have to have a motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, I'll take a motion to open up the public hearing at this time.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
You got that, Katie?
Got it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. So we're opening the public hearing portion right now. Katie, do you have any letters or any input from the public to give to us?
No, I did receive a couple of phone calls. I don't see anybody. Let me just double check if there's anybody that I don't know. I don't see anybody that is unfamiliar to me in the meeting, so I don't have anything.
Can I just ask, what were the comments from the people that did write in their questions on?
I had one comment regarding the city portion of his property taxes. He thought it was too high, and his argument, he lives on the edge of town, and thought that part of what he's paying in property taxes is for services like water and sewer. And so I let him know that he doesn't pay for water and sewer. Water and sewer users pay for water and sewer. We don't use our property tax dollars for those types of things. So I kind of expected to see him here today, and I don't see him. So that was the big one. The other one I just got regarding, again, property taxes being too high, but that one seemed to be more of a property valuation problem than city specific. So I referred him to the assessor's office, and I actually just had a woman in here earlier today, just 15 minutes before the meeting, wondering the same thing. So I again referred her to the assessor's office to see if she can get the valuation of her home decreased. That seems to be more of the common theme, is that people think that this meeting is for the valuation of their homes, but I don't make those determinations. So those were mostly the comments that I got, but nothing specific on. I mean, once I start listing what your property tax dollars are used for. The police department is a big one. The arena is a big one. The street department is a big one. The library, the parks, all of these things that people enjoy and love using, they're not free. So I think once I start explaining that, it starts to make sense a little bit more. So things like the police department are easy to say that we don't want until you need them, in my opinion. So.
Katie, do we have a state or county regulation of how long we keep this open,
I don't think so.
public hearing?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a set time.
I think we'll wait just a few more minutes, and then if you get no calls or no emails or anything, I think we'll close it then. In the meantime, the council have any questions on anything? Phil?
Just Ted, when you were talking about the budget and everyone else is bringing that up about the streets and things, I think that we are, and Katie has brought it up too, but we are in a different situation than we were going into this. When we first had the sales tax through the sewer lining project, that's been a big game changer to us having to rip up all the streets. And where Ted was talking, years and years ago, was the overlay, and that I don't think was as applicable as it is today. And I think Ted bringing that back to the table is extremely smart, because we can do a lot more with that mill and overlay type deal with the projects that Phil is already doing. So that's a great idea, Ted. Thanks for doing that.
You bet. Thank you. It's a big, we've had a big difference in what we can do in the street department with all the things that Phil has taken on, whether they've been voluntarily or shoved on your lap. But it has made a big difference in how many things we can get done throughout the city that we didn't do before, or was done by a contractor that probably, God, I can't imagine, 3, 4, or 5 times more expensive. So it does make a big difference with what we can do with our budget.
I mean, a simple thing like patching our own, using the county's roller, that's a huge, huge savings. It's easily $2,000 every time they come to town. And if we can rent that thing for a couple $100, that's huge. That's, to me, that's a game changer. That one's huge.
It wasn't that long ago, well, maybe 5, 6 years ago, maybe it was a little longer. We were paying $20,000 to $25,000 a year to do patching through the city, and it was just one time in the spring when the road restrictions are up. So that made a huge difference for us, for the guys to be able to do them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd just like to say kudos to all the department heads, because I believe everybody tries to, save money somewhere. And I think, like you said, by buying some of this equipment for shrubbery, we're paying $3,000 now, but when you look at it with salary savings, the time, things like that, it all adds up, and we can do more if we got more time. And I just think that everybody does a really good job. If we can do a 0% increase for 2 years, that's saying a lot, because we do get a lot accomplished. And yes, the roads aren't going as fast as we'd like them to, but they're
one that kind of gets lost in translation a little bit is the library. I think this is the 3rd year in a row that the library has seen cuts, and Shelby never complains about it. She does what I ask her to do, and she doesn't complain about it. And she's so quiet, which is probably why she doesn't get enough praise. She's a very, very quiet individual, but She's doing a great job down there, and especially in a year when everything kind of got turned upside down, she's still found a way to save some money, which is huge. It's a little bit different of a department than, you know, the Public Works Department, but nonetheless, she's doing a really good job down there.
That's right. Well, I think you haven't had anything, Katie, no calls, no email or anything else. I'll ask any councilors have any questions or anybody online with us. Does anyone have any questions? Phil, did you have something? No, you're good. All right, then I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing for truth and taxation.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Chris, second. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carried. We're out of the public hearing. We're back into the regular city council meeting. As we go through the motions, I'll go back to roll call again, just to make sure we get it all done correctly. So Katie, the first thing, let me see here. First thing is a motion for the annual levy dollar amount. Is that what you want to start with? I'm going on
Which
the
on your screen is the options are the 0, 1, and 2%. The 0% is what I'm suggesting, is $714,461.
council. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. I'll start with Chris.
Aye.
Greg.
Aye.
Walt.
Aye.
Doug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to the second item is motion for general fund revenue and expenses. Katie?
So with that, the revenues would be $2,287,886, expenditures of $2,268,745.
Have a motion?
So moved. Oh, go ahead, Greg.
That's fine.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Doug?
Aye.
Walt?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to motion for debt service funds. Katie?
So the debt service funds, I'll just run through all of them. Revenue for the 2011A is $77,919.84. For the 2014 A bond is $79,437.19. 2017 A is $58,310. And for the 2020 A is $17,318.33. For expenditures, 2011 A, $77,920. 2014 A is $137,575. 2017 A is $58,310. And 2020 A is $17,318.33.
Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept the debt service as provided.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Start with Chris.
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Walt?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to the next motion for water fund rate increase.
So what we had talked about and the financial people suggested was a 20% rate increase for 2020. And I would suggest going with that. I know that that is high, but I would suggest sticking with what they told us.
Katie, can you again kind of just spell out what that would look like for a average, so the people listening will again know that 20% sounds high, but when
Yep,
it figures to average
20%
user-
sounds high. For a low water user is around 2,000 gallons and is a increase of about $4 to $5 per month. I don't have the medium or high users right at the tip of my fingers here, but I can get that information. If somebody needs to give me a call, just give me a call and I can tell you what it is. I have them sitting on my desk, but I forgot to grab them when I came down here.
Well, just so when they're hearing, you know, any of these percentages, they're realizing it's as a
Yep.
lower user, medium, it's.
Yep, I would say it's right.
down.
It's going to be right between $5 and $8 for a medium to low user.
I think for an average family of 4, isn't that about 4,000 gallons, Phil?
Yeah, it's a little bit more. It's probably somewhere between 4 and possibly 6.
Okay. So it's you could probably multiply that by $4 as it goes up every 2,000 gallons. So it gives you an idea. Any other questions from the council?
I would just say this, is that as much as all of us don't want to have to do this, this has been pushed on to this council from other councils and pushed on from other people that sat in Phil's seat and Katie's seat as well. I mean, this is, if you want water, we had wells that were what, 80 and 100 years old. I mean, we have to do these things. Everyone wants to have fresh water, and for $4 to $12 a month, I think that's a pretty good investment for another 100 years. So yeah,
Well,
I think that we're doing the right thing.
that was very well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a
I'll make
motion to accept?
At 20%, that's my motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. I'll start with Doug,
Aye.
Walt,
Aye.
Greg,
No.
Chris,
Aye.
and I will vote aye. You did get the one no, Katie? Very good, thank you. Motion carried. The next motion is for the water fund revenue and expense.
So with a 20% rate increase, the revenue will be $304,100, expenditures of $313,175.50.
For a net loss of $9,000.
Correct.
Very good. Council? Questions, discussion, or motion?
Motion to approve those figures.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Start with Chris,
Aye.
Greg,
No.
Walt,
Aye.
Doug,
Aye.
and I vote aye. And you recorded the one no? Very good, thank you. Motion carried. Moving on to motion for sewer fund rate increase.
So for the sewer fund, I have 0, 1, 2, and 3, and just for purposes of making sure we don't go upside down, I would suggest we go with a 2% rate increase of that would increase our revenue about $2,300.
Very good questions by the council, discussion or motion?
Wasn't that also a recommendation that by somebody? I forgot who had recommended that, or maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that we needed to keep pace with what we're doing here.
That could have been a recommendation when you guys went for a bond in the past, but I was not here then. So I don't know if anyone else can verify. Ted, I don't know if you've talked about that in the past.
Yes, and we wanted to keep it low as the years went on. The first year was very high. I believe it was 15%.
Okay.
I think we had tried to go set it for 20%, but during the discussion of the council, we dropped it down to 15%. That was voted on and passed. And then from then on, it was a lower amount increase instead of a spurting, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. We did a large one and then low from then on.
I would say since I've been here, we've done anywhere from 1 to 3%. So 2% keeps us right in there.
And that's what we projected to do with it, to keep it down that low. So yes. Any other questions by the council? Hearing that, do we have a motion and a percentage, please?
Oh, I can't make a motion.
You guys made me do the 20. Someone can do the 2.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?
What?
Was that a motion, Doug?
I guess it is. Ted,
Okay,
you
What was that, Chris?
I'll second Doug's motion.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. I'll start with Chris.
Aye.
Greg?
No vote.
Walt?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Let me understand, Greg, you're sustaining?
That's true, yes.
Okay, and I vote yes. Thank you. Motion carried. Moving on to motion for sewer fund revenue and expense budget.
So with a 2% rate increase, the revenue will come in at $577,550, expenditures of $695,146.42, with a net loss of $117,596.42.
Discussion or motion by the council?
I'll make that a motion
Thank
to
you,
accept
Chris.
those revenue expenditures.
Second.
Thank Doug, you second?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. I'll start with Doug.
Yeah, aye.
Walt?
Aye.
Greg?
Abstain.
Chris?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on, the next motion is for motor vehicle revenue and expenses.
Motor vehicle revenue is $2,126,900. Expenditures $2,144,950 with a net loss of $18,050.
Open for discussion or motion? And motion, either way.
Motion to approve.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. I'll start with Chris.
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Walt?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to motion for liquor revenue and expense budget.
Revenue is $1,384,300. Expenditures $1,312,800 with a net income of $71,500.
Open for discussion or motion?
I'll make the motion to accept the revenue and expenditures in the liquor fund.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Start with Doug.
Aye.
Walt,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
motion carried. I believe that's all we have. Katie, correct?
That's it.
Does the council have any other items before we close? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.